When I first saw the title of the material we're doing our deep dive on today, I almost put it in the science and tech file.
I can see why.
It's called parallel field theory.
It does have that very specific academic weight to it, doesn't it? Field theory. You expect to be discussing, the fundamental forces of the universe.
Exactly. Gravity, magnetism, things you measure with very expensive instruments.
Right.
But then I opened the file, and I wasn't looking at equations at all. I was looking at a painting. A really vivid, moody, intense painting.
And creator isn't a physicist at CERN.
Not even close. It's Kim S. MacKenzie.
Who has this fascinating title of her own. She calls herself an artist-author-philosopher.
Which is a trifecta you just don't see every day. Usually you get one, maybe two of those.
But all three together, it suggests she's not just painting pretty pictures.
No, and she's not just writing dry philosophy either. She's trying to merge them.
And that context is so crucial for understanding this piece. This comes from her book, Beauty Within the Art of Soul. So the field she's theorizing about, it isn't electromagnetic, it's the human soul.
Wow, so she's using the language of hard science to describe something that's usually considered incredibly soft and, well, intangible.
It's a bold move. Taking the soul, which we usually reserve for poetry and feelings, and applying a theory to it.
It implies structure, it implies rules.
Precisely. And that's really our mission for this deep dive. We're going to deconstruct this image and the text that goes with it. We want to understand what this parallel field actually is and, why MacKenzie thinks we're all operating in multiple dimensions at once.
But before we get into the philosophy, we have to ground this in the visual. And it's distinct.
It really is.
Imagine a canvas that is just saturated with blue.
Saturated is exactly the right word. It feels like you're looking into the deep ocean or maybe the sky just before it goes completely black.
And sitting right in the middle of this blue atmosphere is a shape.
It's not a mathematical symbol.
No, it's more organic.
Yes, like an hourglass that's been sort of softened by time.
Or maybe even a biological cell that's splitting in two. It has this top bulb and a bottom bulb connected by a narrow waist.
And the whole thing is glowing with this faint blue aura, which kind of separates it from the background. So let's look at that top loop first. It really acts like a frame. Inside that top circle, we aren't seeing that blue atmosphere anymore. We're seeing a scene.
We're looking out a window. That's the most immediate feeling you get.
Yes.
Inside that top loop, it's a view of the cosmos. A dark navy night sky, and it's just scattered with stars, these glittering, sharp points of light. I caught a specific detail there. There's a little cluster of bright stars forming a cross shape, twinkling, and then a larger glowing body.
But what really sells it as a window is at the bottom of that loop. There's that curve.
Our horizon line.
Yes, that is such a critical detail. It anchors you, the viewer.
Yeah.
It implies you are standing somewhere, maybe on the edge of a planet looking out at the universe.
It establishes perspective. This is the external world, the macro.
The macro, the big picture, the thing we all agree is reality. You look up, you see stars, you see space, vast, cold, and beautiful.
But that's only half the painting.
Not even.
If you let your eye travel down through that narrow waist of the hourglass, you enter the bottom loop. And it's jarringly different.
It really is. If the top was a window looking out, the bottom feels like a tunnel looking in.
Yes, a void. Much darker than the blue around the hourglass. It's almost a cave-like purple-black.
But it's not empty.
In the dead center of this dark cave, there's a vertical column. It looks like a stack of glowing symbols.
And the whole color palette just shifts entirely here. We've gone from these cool blues and white starlight to reds, deep oranges, bright yellows. It's a vertical line of heat.
It looks ancient to me, like hieroglyphs or runes burning in the dark. Or maybe it's biological, like chakras or nerve centers. What do you see there?
I see energy. I see a contained power source. And this is where the composition becomes the argument. You have the outer world in the top loop, the stars, and you have the inner world in the bottom loop, that burning column. And they are symmetrical. They take up the exact same amount of space on the canvas.
That's the visual hook, isn't it? It's equating the two. It's saying the fire down in the cave is just as significant as the entire galaxy up in the sky.
Which brings us perfectly to the text. She titled it Parallel Field Theory and included a specific quote to explain what we're looking at.
Okay, I want to read that quote. It's dense. She writes, "Our soul is like polarity. It straddles worlds dimensionally."
And we should probably stop right there, the first part. Our soul is like polarity. I immediately think of magnets or batteries.
Positive and negative, or politics, where everything is polarized and fighting. It usually implies some kind of conflict.
And that's the trap we fall into with the word. We think polarity means versus. But in physics and on this kind of philosophy, polarity just refers to a state where two opposite principles serve as a basis for a single system.
You can't have a North Pole without a South Pole.
Exactly. The magnet is the relationship between the two. They define each other.
So in the context of the painting, the top loop, the cosmos, and the bottom loop, the inner fire, those are the poles.
I think that's exactly what she's saying. And the soul isn't one or the other. The soul isn't just that inner feeling.
The soul is the polarity itself.
Yes. It's the tension and the connection between the external reality and the internal reality.
That's a huge shift in thinking right there. Usually people think of the soul as this little ghost inside a machine.
Right. I have a body, and my soul is tucked away inside somewhere.
But this suggests the soul is the whole structure. It's the entire figure 8.
It's the field that encompasses both, hence parallel field theory. Our existence is generated by the interaction of these two fields, the macro universe outside and the micro universe inside.
Okay, let's move to the next word in the quote, because it's the one that really stuck out to me. It straddles worlds. Straddles. It's such an awkward physical word.
It is, isn't it? It's not observed. It's not visits.
It straddles. It makes me think of climbing a fence, one leg on one side, one on the other.
Yeah.
You're balancing, you're occupying both spaces at the same time.
And that completely destroys the idea that we're just passive observers. If you are straddling worlds, you have weight in both of them. You're a participant in the cosmic scale, the top loop, just as much as you are in your own internal emotional scale, the bottom loop.
Okay, wait. It's easy to say we're participants in the internal world. Those are my thoughts, my feelings. I get that. But the external world, the stars, how am I straddling that? I'm just the tiny person looking at it. I don't feel like a participant in the galaxy.
Well, this is where the theory part gets really interesting. Think about what a field is in physics. It isn't a solid object.
It's a region of influence.
It's a region where a force has an effect. Gravity's a field. You can't see it, but it dictates everything. MacKenzie seems to be suggesting that your consciousness, your soul, projects its own kind of field.
So you aren't just looking at the stars. Your perception of the stars is actually part of reality.
Or at the very least, it's incomplete without you. The polarity requires both ends. The beauty within reflects the beauty without.
So if you delete the bottom loop,
then the top loop is just cold gas burning in a void. It requires the internal witness to give it meaning.
And what if you delete the top loop?
And the bottom loop is just isolated feelings. Hallucinations with no context. You need the external world to ground the internal experience. They are parallel fields constantly running alongside each other.
And then she hits us with that last word. Dimensionally. It straddles worlds dimensionally.
That one word does a lot of heavy lifting. It's proposing that the internal world is an actual dimension of your existence.
A dimension as real as height or width or time.
In a philosophical sense, absolutely. Look at the painting again. Look at the intensity of those red and gold symbols in the bottom loop.
They're so bright.
They're bright, they're distinct. They aren't fuzzy or dreamlike. They're painted with the same kind of solidity as the stars.
That's true. They don't look like wisps of smoke. They look like hard light.
That is the artist validating our internal reality. She's saying, your feelings, your intuition, your soul fire, that is not less real than the planet you are standing on.
It has mass. It has its own gravity.
It's a dimension you occupy.
You know, this is starting to feel less like a physics paper and more like an empowerment manifesto.
It is remarkably positive, isn't it?
Well, just think about how small we usually feel. You scroll through the news or you look at photos from the James Webb Telescope, and the overwhelming feeling is insignificance. I am a speck of dust on a rock.
That's the standard narrative. The universe is big, you are small.
But parallel field theory completely flips that table over. It says, yes, the universe is big. That's the top loop. But look at the bottom loop. Look at what you are carrying inside you. It's the same size.
It provides a counterbalance. It restores a sense of scale to the human experience.
Yeah.
You aren't just a speck in the field. You are the field. You're the container for this massive polarity.
I really like this idea of parallel fields as a way to navigate daily life, because we do feel that split, don't we?
And usually we're taught to ignore that bottom loop. We suppress it to focus on the external. We flatten ourselves to fit.
We flatten it, yes. We try to live only in the top loop.
But this theory invites us to acknowledge both, to straddle them. I am physically here, dealing with this external task, but I'm also simultaneously inhabiting this rich, vibrant dimension that no one else can even see.
It's almost like having a secret superpower or a secret sanctuary.
The painting definitely depicts it as a sanctuary. Notice how protected that bottom loop feels. It's encased in that dark void, wrapped in the blue aura. The chaos of the stars doesn't bleed into it.
That's a really comforting thought, that the internal world has its own integrity. It's not just a reaction to the outside, it's a standalone generator of energy.
Generator is a great word for it. Those colors, red, orange, yellow, those are active colors. The stars in the top are passive. They just sit there and twinkle. The internal symbols look like they're humming.
So if we really accept this, Kim S. MacKenzie's parallel field theory, what does it actually change for us?
I think it changes where you look for awe. We spend so much time and money trying to find awe in the external field. We're constantly trying to stimulate the top loop.
We want the macro to impress us.
Right. But this artwork suggests that if you turn that same level of curiosity inward, if you treated your own psyche, your own soul, as a landscape to be explored, you'd find something just as complex and dazzling as the night sky.
That's a daunting prospect, though. Exploring your own mind isn't always as pretty as looking at the moon. It can be a dark cave.
True. The bottom loop in the painting is a dark cave. The darkness is there, but the structure, the meaning, is glowing right in the middle of it. You just have to be willing to look into the void to see the symbols.
It really brings us back to the author part of her title, doesn't it? Beauty within.
And the philosopher part tells us why it all matters. Because if you recognize that you are a multidimensional being, you stop accepting a one-dimensional life. You start demanding more depth from your own experience.
You stop sleepwalking through your day.
You wake up to the polarity. You realize you are the bridge between the finite world of things and the infinite world of the spirit. And that is a powerful way to walk down the street.
It really does recontextualize the word reality. We started this by asking, how big is your reality?
And hopefully the answer now is twice as big as I thought.
At least twice as big, maybe infinitely bigger, if we really explore that bottom loop.
It's a map that has no edges. The blue background in the painting just fades out into nothing. It implies this field we're in just goes on forever.
I'm looking at the image one last time before we wrap up. It's so stable, the figure 8 isn't tipping over.
It's balanced because of the tension. That's the polarity at work. The internal supports the external. The external grounds the internal. It's a perfect system.
So for everyone listening, we've thrown a lot at you. We've gone from blue paint to quantum metaphors to the structure of the soul. But I think the takeaway is surprisingly practical.
Which is?
Don't neglect the bottom loop. You are running two fields simultaneously. You have the world around you and you have the universe inside you. And according to Kim S. MacKenzie, they are parallel. They are equal.
And they both deserve your attention.
So here is the final thought I want to leave you with. We are always trying to map the outer universe. We have telescopes, satellites, Google Maps. We know what the top loop looks like.
We're obsessed with it.
But the painting shows the bottom loop, the internal universe, as being just as bright, just as structured, and just as deep. So here is the question. If you exist in parallel fields and your internal world is as vast as the stars above, what aspects of your own internal universe have you yet to explore?
What glowing symbols are waiting in your own cave that you haven't even looked at yet?
That's a scary and an exciting question.
That might be the only question that really matters.
Thanks for diving in with us.